Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. Today we are getting ready to head out to go do a job that I probably underbid. We've got the LS tractor loaded up with the Baumalight MP560 brush mulcher on the back. We've got the grapple on the front, all loaded up on the new deck over trailer. And we've got our way safe hitch here in the bed, which if I look at that, it is reading about 2,800 pounds of tongue weight, which for this F250, I've got a max payload of 2,500 pounds. So by having that in the bed, I know I need to back this up just a little bit. I thought that having that brush mulcher there is about 2,000 pounds. So I thought having that over the axles would kind of even the load up, but I do need to back up just a little bit more over top of the axles here. All right, let's see what we did. We backed up about a foot. The beginning of the grapple there was up against the headrail there. We backed up a foot. See what that did for our tongue weight. We are sitting about 2,400 pounds now. I could probably go back just a little bit more because total payload includes me at 230 pounds in the driver's seat. So I'm shooting for, I want to be about 2,200 pounds or 2,000 pounds. Actually, WaySafe has an app that you can put in your trailer, your truck, all your GVW, GCWR specs, and it'll give you what your safe tongue weight should be on this truck and trailer with this load on it. All right, we backed up probably another 8 to 10 more inches, and our tongue weight now should be about perfect, I would think. Yeah, right at about 2,000 pounds or 1,900. If anybody is interested in WaySafe hitches, I've got a link down in the description that can get you 10% off. I really enjoy having them. They make gooseneck, they make bumper pull. It's just really good information to have when you start towing a little bit heavier. This load right here, the tractor is probably about 6,000 pounds and the mulcher on the back is about 2,000 pounds. So I've got 8,000 pounds in this trailer. Not maxing out the F250 by any means, but I definitely want to make sure I've got my load balanced, and with the WaySafe hitch, I know that it is. All right, so we're all strapped down here, and I mentioned earlier that we're heading out to go do a mulching job that I probably underbid, and there's a couple of reasons for it. I know going into it that I'm probably too cheap, but you know, not only do you have to take into account how much you can make from the job, and you want to maximize that as much as you can, but you also have to take into account what the customer can afford. And in this situation, I just don't think that the customer was going to go for any more. And I kind of wanted the work. That's the other reason, is I bid it a little low so that I could get the yes. And I don't know as though there was any other competing bids going against me, but I felt like if I came in any higher than I did, they were just gonna not do the project, and I wanted to do the work. I enjoy doing brush mulching, and I want to get into this more, and I want to get some before and after pictures. So part of my budget, I'm not necessarily gonna lose money on this job, but I'm not gonna make as much as I would like to going forward. But part of that is getting myself some marketing material so I can advertise and say, here's a before and after of what it looked like before I got there and what it looked like after. So we're all loaded up. Let's head to the job site. I'll show you what it is.
No, you'll have to access through this panel anyway, so how'd it drive for you?
Incredible, actually.
Yeah?
I was really surprised. That's one thing I want to talk about is, I mentioned before I left the WaySafe hitch. This thing drove incredibly smooth. So that tractor is 8,000 pounds. The trailer is 5,000 pounds. So that's a 13,000 pound load for a truck that's rated to tow about 16 total. So I'm near the top end, not quite all the way there. I don't know if it's the truck, the trailer, or the WaySafe hitch, but this rode incredibly smooth. And that's the other thing I'll say about the WaySafe hitch, and the last thing I'll say, because I'm probably boring you guys to death, but not only does it increase the safety of your load, but it's also just going to make it ride a lot smoother. Like literally this thing, if I had it pulled all the way forward and I had more tongue weight, every time I hit a bump, it's going to be bouncing the truck around, or if I have too light a tongue weight, it was balanced perfectly on the way over here. Couldn't be happier with how that towed.
Can you say way safe one more time?
Exactly. I genuinely enjoy the product.
I don't know if I can zoom in on that.
Yeah, when I first loaded it up, I had like 2,800 pounds of tongue weight, and I backed it up probably 18 inches, and it dropped down to 2,000 pounds, and it just drove really smooth on the way over here.
This is why I mentioned mega ramps.
Yes.
So if you came here with more than just this piece of equipment, you still have space to put stuff.
Yeah, you got a flat deck.
Right.
Yep.
It's not the easiest to load and unload, but you still got space to put stuff.
Yeah.
Like if we were bringing palletized goods or something like that, you'd obviously want those in the front, but then you've at least got space back here. You can go up on the forks, lift your stuff out of the way.
Yep.
You know, and be able to get it off that way.
And the other thing too is, you know, if you've got 12-inch wide ramps and you're backing off here, you get a little bit more of a pucker factor backing off. Whereas here, you know, you can't go off of the ramps unless you really screw up.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right, tractor's unloaded. We have showed you guys this job before. Basically, we're gonna come in here and mulch everything. What'd you say, Josh? 2
to 3 inches smaller.
2 to 3 inches and smaller. So like something like this. This is probably pushing it. I'll probably take it down just because I know they're gonna want rid of that.
Well, it's also, and I'm putting a driveway in that goes up to those markers right there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of it that's holding water along the edges and things like that we need to get out of the way.
Well, and you can see the landowner did something kind of silly here. They had a shed delivered before the driveway was put in, and so now kind of like they got the cart before the horse a little bit here.
Yeah.
What's your plan with that? That's going to be
It's going to wait. I really can't do anything until they either move it or...
Well, and they can't move it until it, I guess, dries out.
Yeah.
But because the shed is supposed to go all the way on the back corner of the property back there.
Yeah, there's a pad just past this large tree, the only large tree that's here, that maple. There's a stone pad that they put in, but
yeah,
it still has to travel all the way through here. So luckily it looks like it's on skids. I don't know if they're gonna get horses or a whole bunch of Amish to pick it up and carry it.
So anyway, guys, I bid this job at $500, and again, mainly because I wanted to do it. I enjoyed doing the mulching stuff, and that's probably not enough for what we have to do here. I mean, it should be quick in and out, but I've got, you know, a half hour, 45 minutes loading up, chaining, 45 minutes driving here. I'm gonna have time loading and getting back home again too. So as you're watching us do this, let me know how much you think I underbid this job for $500. So
the numbers are going to be huge.
Oh, I know. Well, mulching, I mean, I know some guys, they do $1,000 minimum just to show up, and then you know, I bet you there's gonna be people that are gonna say you should have bid this for $2,000 or something.
Now mind you, it's only an acre.
It's only an acre, and really,
and there's not
a lot of grass
brush either.
Yeah, it's just some saplings here and there. There's not a lot of grassy area that needs like basically brush hogged down.
Yeah.
I feel like we should be able to move through this pretty quick.
But we'll find out.
Yeah. And this is where you get yourself into trouble bidding jobs too low, is you run into problems, breakdowns, things like that. Now, obviously this isn't a breakdown. We just have some kind of burlap bag or something like that that got wound up in. Luckily, it's not metal or anything. We can go ahead and just cut that right out and be back up and running. But yeah, when stuff breaks, it's not a lot of fun when you already underbid the job to begin with.
How's that desk feel?
Yeah, desk job looks pretty good right about now. All right, after 15 minutes of messing around, we got it cleared out of there, and it turns out it looked like it was a blanket. Got it all out here, and cotton and fabric and all kinds of stuff. That was a little bit of a bird's nest in there, but again, it was probably better than if it had been some steel wire or cable or something like that. That would have been a nightmare. Back to mulching.
and he wants me to stand behind that.
So what I've been finding that I'm doing is once you get the tree knocked down, it wants to bite it and shove it underneath the tractor. But what I'm finding I do is I'll lift up on it a little bit so it doesn't want to bite the actual stem of the tree, and I'll just back over the top. So all that you're left with is the spar, right? It takes all the rest of the branches and everything off and just kind of strips it clean. I don't think once you get it on the ground that you're going to be able to actually grind up this section, just because there's nothing holding it in place while the teeth chew it.
But that is a lot easier to manage than
the whole top.
The top that's laying over there, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can, while you're here with the grapple, if you can move any of this stuff that's dead or fallen that we've knocked over,
and just put it in a pile.
Just put it alongside the edge of the road where I could reach it with an excavator.
All right, so here's what the finished product looks like. Josh said he's still got to come in here with an excavator and dig out all of these bigger trees that that mulcher is not going to take out, but I would say they should be fairly happy with this. Everything 2 inches and less is now gone, mulched up. There's still some stuff left in here, but I mean, that's what you're going to get with a mulching job. Tell you what, the one thing that I am impressed with that unit is the size diameter of tree that you can realistically take down with it. I know there's one up here. We'll take a walk up here and look at that one. It was probably 5 or 6 inches in diameter, and there's a little bit of a learning curve to it. You do have to take your time. It's not like you can just barrel right into it, but like right here, there's the stump, there's the tree, and just for perspective, there's my hand. So maybe that's, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, maybe not 5 or 6, but I know there were some bigger ones in here that we took down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this one over here.
Oh, there was one here too that was a decent. Yeah, this one here was. This was probably. I don't know. I mean, there's my hand. That's every bit of probably 8 inches or so.
Yeah.
And you can see well, no, I mean, it comes all the way. Right there's the edge of it. So it comes all the way around. And then there was another little sucker tree coming off the side of it. But that's, the entirety of my palm fits inside that tree that we took down. Granted, these trees are dead. They're dead ash trees. So.
Well, you're 6'5", so your hands are also giant.
Yeah. I don't know if a dead tree is easier to push over with a mulcher like that than a green tree.
It didn't look that difficult. Like there was some of the stuff like these, we could have probably mulched this one that's dead here. But at the same time, I'm gonna be here in a couple weeks with an excavator to.
It's gonna be easier with the excavator to take out the bigger stuff. There's no
Right.
sense in beating up the tractor and the mulcher.
No.
It really excels at probably 4 inches and smaller.
Yeah.
Anything over that, get the excavator out here and dig it out.
Yep.
As far as time goes, I was thinking we'd be in here in an hour or two. Turned out to be about 3 hours. So we didn't underestimate it that bad on total time. But yeah, as far as $500 for this, I still think the customer's getting a heck of a deal.
Yeah, but that $500 as well is wrapped into a full driveway install, or a road install.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah, Josh is basically subcontracting me out to do this part, and then he's doing the driveway, and he's paying me out of his share of the project. So
Right.
Anyway, that's this one. But anyway, like we said before, let me know, how much do you think I underbid this job? If you were coming out here with that equipment it's about 1 acre clearing job, just doing all the small saplings and stuff, what would you have charged for this? Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. Click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.